Alright folks, my name is Freyn and today has been Wildcards ExtraLife stream, which means we've been given a ton of news and development updates to sink our teeth into. Some were fairly expected, others quite surprising, but all give us a hint for the road ahead. So, let's get cracking, shall we? With Cryopods, which are confirmed to be coming this month. Now, the original plan was to hold them back until extinction, but they've pivoted on this quite quickly because simply the servers need them. Having every single player on every server keeping every dino out in the world is clearly causing a lot of stress. So for stability more than anything else, they will be coming soon. I know many are quite happy with the current gameplay shift that a lack of cryos has created. Tribes are having to build larger and less defendable bases to house their tames, and it's certainly added to the danger, especially when it comes to taming the new wild babies or trying to take a run at a cave. But I think this was sadly inevitable, and it is ultimately necessary for the game's health. If you are enjoying things without them though, of course, there is always unofficial servers which can disable the engrams entirely and let you maintain that type of gameplay. Next, we have events. Now, part of the turkey trial details were already revealed in one of the previous crunches, with the return of past year skins and emotes in addition to some new ones on the list, such as a feeding trough and cooking pot skin, quite unexpected. But now we also have our first little preview of the Winter Wonderland event as well, with some Krampus skin art being shown off. And further clarification, in case anyone needed it, that from now on all events will be running in the form of mods. The idea behind this change is that it allows players and server owners to enable the events whenever they want. If you want to have year-round Halloween, you can, and it's with the full range of features. In Survival Evolved, if you turned on an event outside of the particular time, you still got access to the colours, but you didn't get any of the other things. There was no gravestones or pumpkins during the Halloween event. Now though, you can get that and run it all year round if you so wish. Now comes the really big one in the roadmap update. Not every single thing is on here, of course, but this is outlining all the major releases for the next 2 years of Ark Survival Ascended. Starting out with Survival of the Fittest on December the 20th, just over 2 weeks from now, and honestly when I would also expect Cryopods to appear, as it simply makes sense to bundle one big patch out, especially for consoles, instead of multiple smaller ones. Later than expected, as it was originally slated to be coming at release, but not too far off. So if you're a Survival of the Fittest fan, you've got that to look forward to very shortly. Scorched Earth will be finally hitting the game in March 2024. Now this was originally intended to be in at release and then I believe pushed back to December, but now we'll be getting it in March, so big delay there. The centre will show up in May, with Aberration not too far behind in July. Again, fair way off from its original slated release date of Q4 2023, but I think we all expected that at this stage. Ragnarok will be in September, Extinction in October, again far behind its Q1 intended release date there. And then in November, something they simply described as a gameplay related surprise. Now this could be a map, it could be a new creature, it could be just an overhaul of some of the systems, but whatever it is, it's something they feel is big enough to include it on the roadmap as its own note and not part of another patch. So kind of intrigued to see what that's going to be, and maybe they'll sort of trickle some info out over the next year, who knows. Valguero will be coming in December, with Gen 1 in February 2025. Again, originally planned for Q1 2024, so we're a full year out at this stage. Crystal Isles in April, Gen 2 in May, Lost Island in August, and Fjordor in October. Again, looking at their previous roadmap, they said all of the community-created DLC maps will be coming out during 2024. So, I'm sure as a surprise to no one, there is a fairly hefty delay on some of those. Now, as far as new DLCs go, they've said these will arrive after all the current canonical maps have been implemented. Whether this means they're coming after Gen 2 in May 2025, or actually after Fjordor at the end there in October, we don't know, but we'll get more information on those DLCs closer to the time. As for why everything is going to be so delayed, we just have to look at the new information they've given us for Scorched Earth. Not only do we have the date, of course, in March 2024, but they've said that part of this is because they want to make sure it reaches the same level of overhaul that the island had. They don't just want to sort of polish it up and make it a bit prettier graphically. They want to really overhaul it. They're going to add new caves. They've said new secrets, new lore pieces. Now hopefully those new caves mean new artifacts and maybe new bosses. I personally would love to see more than one boss. I actually really like Scorched as a concept, but it doesn't have that much to do. So new caves and possibly a new boss would be fantastic. We've also had our first look at the Fasolasuchus with a new screenshot there. Personally, not really a big fan of how it looks in this. I really like the visual design we got with the dossier art. Not loving this here. Hopefully it's just a bad angle, but to me the head looks different. The back legs look much longer. I think somebody described it as almost like a gacha with a different face. Weirdly, you can't see a tail in the picture either. Again, hopefully just the angle. Hopefully it's turning towards the camera and the tail is just simply hidden from view. But we've got two, actually 3 in the photo, as you can see some spikes sticking out the ground there, and even a fire wyvern perched in the background. They've said their aim for this creature is to try and replicate an ocean field to an extent. Obviously Scorched doesn't have an ocean, the dunes take its place instead, but they wanted something that gave a similar feel, so the design for this is to swim through the sand. It's not going to be a passive or a regular trank tame, it will instead require wrangling into rocks, was the way they described it. They won't typically be underground when you encounter them in the wild, they'll be wandering on the surface, specifically to give the dunes a bit more of a visible population. But when they do go underground, it'll give them access to a maelstrom attack they described as damage over time in a sort of a magnetized area. So sort of sucking creatures into a vortex and doing more and more damage the longer they're in there. Other things they mentioned include being able to whip debris at things with a sort of a conical ranged attack, and a sort of thorns damage effect that breaks armor when you hit them. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how the creature turns out. I admit I'm a little less excited for it than I once was. Again, though, hopefully that's just a bad angle in the photo and it actually turns out to be fantastic. Now, another reason for the delay with Scorched and all the rest of them is what they've described as adventure packs. Now, all the current maps are included in the price of Ark Survival Ascended. If you've bought the game, you don't have to rebuy those, but games still need monetizing some way to pay for development, and their plan here is to use adventure packs. These are going to be mini DLCs accompanying each map. You don't have to buy them to play the map, but they do bring extra features. And with Scorched, it's going to be called the Frontier Pack. This pack will be in a very different direction to how I expected Scorched to go, I have to admit, but it seems to be a bit of a cowboy Wild West theme. There's going to be trains, train tracks, locomotives, wagons. There's going to be bar games, they've said shovels to go out and dig up treasure. There's going to be a new type of Frontier structure skin, so you can actually skin your structures now, which is something I've suggested before, so I'm very intrigued to see those. And we're going to have some cowboy skins, and they've also said an additional creature. Now, I am a little concerned on this. Is this new creature only tameable if you have the pack? You know, if somebody goes to play on a Scorched Earth server, is the creature there but they simply can't access it? What if somebody else tames it and gives you the Cryopods? You know, can you get it then? With the new structures, how much is locked out for you if you don't own the pack? For PvE, it's absolutely fine to do these things, and especially on the cosmetic side, I always think cosmetics are the best way to monetize a game. But structures and creatures are, well, it's a bit more dangerous. Obviously, this is already kind of a thing. You know, if you don't own the Aberration pack, you can't go to Aberration and get yourself a Reaper. So that's not really new. But that's simply you can't play that map at all. There's a difference between not being able to go to the map and being able to go to the map but not use half the stuff that's there. So, interested to see how that one goes. Again though, they've said these adventure packs will be coming with every single DLC along the way. So it explains a little bit of the delay, as they've got an extra thing to work on. Now, one other thing they mentioned with the adventure packs is that the idea here is to enable them to put the entire development team onto ASA indefinitely. Kind of implies that they've not got another project going on. No Ark 2 potentially, as there was no mention of that. Originally slated for 2023, it's now not on this roadmap at all, and well, if they're moving the entire team onto ASA, does that mean Ark 2 has been abandoned? We don't know. Other things mentioned are that Survival of the Fittest will be essentially the same as it is in Ark Survival Evolved, but with modding support. Their hope is that players will expand it, change the game mode in different ways, and maybe implement it onto other maps. Finally, the animated show is confirmed to be coming next year, but they also didn't mention a distribution platform, which I feel like isn't really any news because that's the stage we were already at. Maybe it's not confirmed. Maybe they're simply trying to build hype. Who knows? Hopefully, but who knows? But that's all the news for now. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you have, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.